Our top story, election season is here. The Election Commission today in a press conference has put out dates for Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh will vote on the 12th of November. The counting will be done on 12th of November is when it votes. Now, counting will take place on December 8th. Those are the figures that have been given out. Those are the dates that have been given out by the Election Commission. However, what was interesting was that the dates for Gujarat were not announced today, and that is something that has now become the center of a controversy. The Congress now alleging that the dates for Gujarat were not announced by the Election Commission today because the Election Commission is giving more time to Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate projects in the state of Gujarat. Listen in.
निश्चित रूप से मैं स्वागत करता हूं चुनाव आयोग के इस फैसले का कि चुनाव की प्रक्रिया अब जो है वो शुरू हो रही है और ऐसे में मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट जो है हिमाचल प्रदेश में लागू हो चुका है। हम पूरा सहयोग करेंगे और हिमाचल प्रदेश में चुनाव की कैंपेन की अगर बात कहें तो हमारी कैंपेन बिल्कुल सुचारू रूप से चली है। हमारा शीर्ष नेतृत्व तो हिमाचल प्रदेश में एक बार नहीं अनेक बार अभी तक आ चुके हैं और बहुत
Having seen everything together, including the MCC period which extends, including the preponing in certain states when there is a gap of more than closer to 2 months, less than 2 months, there are multiple factors. And after examining everything, Commission decided, weighed everything and decided to go by the convention which was last held.
हिमाचल में पहले जो सरकारें रही और दिल्ली में भी जो लोग बैठे थे वो आप लोगों की जरूरतों को पूरा करने में उदासीन रहे और आपकी आशा आकांक्षाओं को वो कभी समझ ही नहीं पाए, उन्होंने कभी उसकी परवाह ही नहीं की।
जब कांग्रेस की सरकार हिमाचल प्रदेश में बनेगी तो 2 निर्णय एकदम पहली मंत्रिमंडल की बैठक पे होंगे। सबसे पहला 1 लाख जो सरकारी नौकरियां हैं, जो पद हैं, वो भरे जाएंगे और वो नौकरियां मिलेंगी आपको। दूसरी चीज कि ये जो ओपीएस है, पुराना पेंशन, वो भी उसी मंत्रिमंडल के बैठक में तय किया जाएगा और आपके सामने लाएंगे, वो आपको वापस मिलेगा।
Let me go straight across to my guests who are joining me this evening. Dharinder Tayal is a BJP leader. He's joining us on the broadcast. Mayur Jha is a Congress spokesperson. Ashutosh is a political analyst. And MC Abbas is a political analyst as well. I'm coming to you first, Mr. Jha. Why are you insinuating a conspiracy as far as these election dates are concerned? It's not convention that, elections to 2 states should be announced together. There have been instances in the past where they have not been announced together, and the Election Commission today has explained why Gujarat dates have not been put out. So why does Mr. Jairam Ramesh need to go address a press conference and say this is to give Prime Minister Narendra Modi time to inaugurate projects in Gujarat?
You know, Shreya, just recently there were elections in 5 states, and the gap between the logic that the Election Commission has put out today, the principal logic is that there's a gap of 40 days in the constitution of the assemblies of Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat, and that's why the dates for Gujarat can be announced later. So, as far as UP and Goa were concerned, the gap is 60 days. So there's a gap of 60 days between UP and Goa, but still, I mean, because you found it more convenient, you did UP and Goa together. Now, you're definitely facing the heat in Gujarat. The anti-incumbency is very high. What recently happened to our tribal MLA in Gujarat, and the kind of support and sympathy the Congress cadre and especially the Congress MLA concerned got, that has shaken the BJP, and the BJP knows that, they're looking at a defeat as far as Gujarat is concerned. After 27 years, the BJP still has to go and ask questions in Gujarat. At a time when the Prime Minister was expected to give answers in Gujarat, you see the Honorable Prime Minister's last rally in Gujarat, that rally was full of questions. The fact that Gujarat has the longest coastline and nothing has been done to develop that coastline, who's got to answer that? Last 27 years, the state has had a non-Congress government. The Prime Minister himself has been the longest serving Chief Minister of the state in that period. He's been the Prime Minister of the country for 8 years. So at a time when the country expects the Prime Minister to give answers, all we get is questions and more questions. So that the writing on the wall is clear. The BJP is scared in Gujarat. They know the larger ramifications of an impending defeat in Gujarat, the national ramifications of what may happen if the BJP does not do well in Gujarat. In 2017, if it wasn't for one particular district, the BJP had lost the state. This time, I'm telling you, the preparedness is much higher. The preparedness as far as Congress is concerned is much better. The BJP is looking at an imminent defeat, and therefore all these last minute tactics of using constitutional agencies to basically come into the assistance of the of a political party, we are seeing all this.
Okay, Mr. Tayal, would you want to respond to that? I mean, a fact is that if for 27 years the people of Gujarat have chosen the BJP, it says something about the BJP's track record. But anyhow, the Congress is claiming and alleging that you're scared this time. In fact, that is something that the Aam Aadmi Party is also alleging and claiming, that there is going to be a tough fight for Gujarat this time. There was a very, very tough fight last time as well, as far as the BJP is concerned. The Congress was very, very close. Now they are saying they're so scared that they've had to buy more time to ensure that the Prime Minister can do some more big rallies in Gujarat and, inaugurate some more projects and announce some more big projects. Because uske bina election jeet nahi payenge.
Thank you, Shreya. I think I would agree with him that we are very, very scared. So we are very scared that this time Congress may touch double digits. So, which we don't expect them to. But what, God forbid, if they were to get into double-digit winning, what would happen? So that is the fear. I mean, coming from somebody who himself has admitted that we've been out of power for 27 years, 28 years. 6 times. And we want to talk about anti-incumbency.
I'm unable to hear Mr. Tayal. Shreya, I'm unable to hear Mr. Tayal.
Am I audible?
Mr. Jha, give me a minute. Let me first see if I can hear Mr. Tayal. Yes, I can hear Mr. Tayal. Mr. Tayal, go ahead, please.
So, what I was saying that to say that BJP is facing anti-incumbency of which time? The first time, the second time, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Let's face it, the plot is over. And the desperation in Congress is so evident. I mean, all over the place there. I mean, it is so comic that their presidents are coming and joining BJP. Both in Himachal and in Gujarat. And the recent thing, which is certainly not comic and extremely serious, desperation setting in. This gentleman, whom they have made the president of the Congress in Gujarat, a gentleman Gopal Italia, coming in and being abusive downright, not just to the Prime Minister, but to the mother of the Prime Minister, being called to the NCW, going there, writing. Is that the kind of politics we want to do? Is that the kind of desperation that Congress is into? Is it survival now, which is threatened now? What are they up to? I really fail to understand where they are getting this delusion or that they are going to form a government. I'd be surprised with this kind of behavior of their state president. Nobody is going to vote for them, and Congress would be hard pressed to touch double digits.
Okay. Right now, the BJP has 111 members. The Congress has 62 members. And the NCP has 1 member. There's Bharatiya Tribal Party that has 1 member as well. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Jha.
So, Mr. Tayal, as far as Gopal Italia is concerned, that's the trait of the Aam Aadmi Party. We have seen it all over the country. And we are as much, in for condemning whatever he has said as you are. So, I'm not getting into what Gopal Italia said. That's Aam Aadmi Party's problem. I'll not get into that. My limited question to you and the limited point that I made here is that after 27 years of being in the state, of which 12 years the Prime Minister himself was the Chief Minister of that state, 8 years Mr. Modi has been the Prime Minister of country. In the last rally of Mr. Modi, did we hear any solution that has been provided to the people of the state? That rally was full of rhetoric. That rally was full of attacking the opposition. For how many days you only want to fetch votes in the name of the Congress party? There is no solution that has been offered to the people of Gujarat. There is certain electoral arithmetic for perhaps because of which we were not able to win the state for so many years. But right now been working in Gujarat, I have been at the grassroots level. The level of anti-incumbency prevalent in the, especially in the rural areas of Gujarat, the level of exclusion that the tribals of that state are facing, the level of exclusion that the backwards of the state are facing, the level of exclusion that the farmers of the state are facing, the level of exclusion that the small businessmen of the state are facing, that is unprecedented. And that is why in the last rally of the Prime Minister, all we heard was questions. No solutions, no answers, nothing. All we heard, questions is something that we should be asking. You should be there to provide me answers. There is no answer that the BJP has been able to provide. There is no answer that the BJP can provide, and the BJP knows it very well. And therefore, the only last resort that the BJP can now resort to, as far as the state of Gujarat is concerned, is to further somehow, get some arithmetic into place. Further empower Aam Aadmi Party, make it look like a triangular contest, try and divide the opposition votes. It's all these permutation combinations that's the last resort of BJP.
This is interesting.
The BJP has not been able to strike the right permutation combination.
This is interesting.
No, Aam Aadmi Party is the
This
beating
is
of BJP.
interesting. You're saying that it's actually the BJP that is propping up the Aam Aadmi Party. That's an interesting premise.
That is a fact. That is a fact, and we've seen it. I mean, you go to the ground here. You must have a reporter network on the ground here. You tell the reporter network on the ground, and they will be able to tell you that which are the pockets in which Aam Aadmi Party is most active. These are the pockets in which the Congress swept as far as 2017 was concerned. So BJP is very strategically using Aam Aadmi Party. BJP thinks that it needs more time. Right now BJP has realized that Aam Aadmi Party is not in a position to cut into very substantially into the Congress votes. So they want to give them more time. Basically it's not an announcement. What announcements will you make in the next 10-15 days? It's about ensuring a further and a greater preparedness of Aam Aadmi Party on the ground, for which you are buying the time.
Okay, you know what we'll do? We'll try and fix your frame because even I can't see you right now. Yes, who wants to come in? Mr. Abbas, I just want Mr. Abbas to come in because what Mr. Jha has put out is a very interesting, delicious premise where he's saying, "Arey, ye to B team hai BJP ka, Aam Aadmi Party. All this Italia storm that is going on, all of this is fixed match. The Aam Aadmi Party is being propped." So that the Congress can be overshadowed. Jabki what the Prime Minister has said is beware of the Congress Party. They are the ones who are silently campaigning. The Aam Aadmi Party is doing a lot of ho hangama, but it's the Congress Party which is silently campaigning and which is the party that needs to be taken more seriously than the Aam Aadmi Party. Go ahead, Mr. Abbas. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, wonderful. The fact of the matter, Shreya ji, we need to understand here, this is absolutely, Congress is not into the picture. Respected sir, elections aren't fought on any surveys or polls, but what is happening at the grassroots level? The fact that one of the siblings is with the Bharat Jodo, the other sibling is at Himachal, and the other big mama is at the table trying to keep the grooms ahead, but that is not the way, sir. The fact of the matter, with the rise of the Aam Aadmi Party, both the Congress and the BJP are rattled today. The way the Aam Aadmi Party is growing, the respective leadership is growing, it's shaking the living daylights out of the two of them. They need to understand 27 years of overconfidence and anti-incumbency will come into the picture. With all due respect, let me take the great leader's name, Mrs. Sheila Dikshit ji, who was a brilliant leader. But what happened? It was the Aam Aadmi Party, the new age political startup disruptor, which came through. Shreya ji, I truly see this as a David versus Goliath fight, keeping Congress out of the picture. This is going to be head-on. The BJP versus the Aam Aadmi Party. And let me tell you, the Aam Aadmi Party has set the cat among the pigeons and is going to disrupt this completely. The fact of the matter, Modi ji wanting to buy time with some more jumlebazi, with some more inaugurations, with some more totlebazi, it's not going to help them. They need to understand that today people of Gujarat are not just like Dilwalon ki Dili, but there is equal amount of demand here which will come back into play. Because why so, you may ask? They want the best of electricity, they want the best of educations, hospital, and so on and so forth. We need to understand time and again when there are leaders which come into play, this shakes the Gujarat Assembly. We need to understand that today's voter cannot be taken for granted.
You know, it's interesting.
They will come out, they will vote, and they'll make the party win.
It's interesting, Ashutosh, Come to think of it, it's interesting, Ashutosh, that it is the dates for Himachal that have been announced today, right? Himachal votes on the 12th of November. 8th of December is when the counting will take place.
Right.
And yet we are discussing Gujarat here because the Gujarat dates have not been announced. Are you seeing a sajish there as well, like the Congress is?
Good question, Shreya ji.
Why should I call it a conspiracy? Because the minute I'll say the conspiracy, the BJP will bash me up and say, you don't trust an election commission, a constitutional body. I do trust election commission as a constitutional body. But the fact of the matter is, this is not the first time. 2017, when the Gujarat and the Himachal Assembly elections were supposed to take place, even then, Himachal Assembly elections were announced first and Gujarat Assembly election announced later. And in between, the thousands of the projects were announced by the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi then. So even then, the similar logic was used that the Election Commission has provided time to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and that's why they because see there are the two very similar, very strange things happen. First of all, the government and the Election Commission, they always talk about one nation, one election, and you can't hold two assembly elections together. So what kind of logic was this? See, in this election, if you look at the gap between the polling and the counting in Himachal is 26 days. This is unimaginable. This is monstrous.
Correct.
See, you practically need 2 to 3 days to collect all the boxes and count. Instead of that, why are you giving 26 days? I can understand that the Himachal is a hilly place. So you take a week, not 26 days. That means what? That the 8th December will also be possibly the counting date for the Gujarat. And the elections will be held between the 12th November and 8th December. So my logic is very simple. If you talk about, in principle, philosophically, one nation, one election, and you can't hold two assembly elections together, either you don't talk about it, or whatever you have talked about is, you don't even implement that. It's a farce.
It's a farce, and Mr. Tayal, just come in here. Look at the explanation that the Election Commission has given us. They are saying that one of the reasons why we are not announcing Gujarat is simply this, that then, the election results get delayed. In this case, in Himachal Pradesh, as Ashutosh is rightly pointing out, it's not like the election results will be out in a week or in 10 days. They'll take 26 days to be declared. So that logic doesn't really hold.
Shreya, so Ashutosh has said it himself. I mean, first he's given the answer and then he has posed the questions. So the answer is very clear. Now,
Sir, वो answer तो is a cliche. वो तो आप मत ही बोलिएगा. That's a cliche we all know you're going to say.
Let me come back with that. I mean, do all the constitutional bodies of the country have become a cliche? Can we say all the constitutional bodies of the country are a cliche? Wonderful. Now, let me come to something which is not a cliche. Let us give it to your viewer and to the panelists. That do you really think Mr. Narendra Modi is a leader or an executor of the kind who needs that last minute preparation like a student studying for exams? If he had to announce, if he had to make the announcements, if he can make them over the next 10 days, we're talking about the person who's handled the COVID best in the world. We're talking about the person who is leading the economy best in the world. And we are trying to tell the viewers that he needs those 5 minutes the student needs before the exam to really mug up. If it was for the sake of announcements, he would have made the announcements. What's the big deal? He's made Mr. Mayur was talking about, we just heard rhetoric. Rhetoric worth 1,772 crores, Mr.Mayur. Now, that is not rhetoric.
Mr. Tayal,
That's hard money. So, in fact, you did not give me an opportunity. You did not give me an opportunity at that time. But on hearing Mayur, all I wanted to say, I needed just 2 words to get in, which was kuch bhi. That is what I wanted to say.
But Mr. Tayal,
I'll just get in with 2 points.
No,
I'll just get
एक
in with
मिनट,
2
Mr.
points.
Jha, एक मिनट रुकिए आप जरा. Just give me a minute. I'll give you a chance to speak. But Mr. Tayal, point is, you're saying that Prime Minister Modi is too cool for school. You know, he's a topper kid all through. He doesn't need this last minute prep and all of that. But please remember, when examinations are on, which are the kids who write the longest for the longest and take the maximum answer sheets? It's the toppers, and they are for 5 minutes extra because they have so much to write. So the analogy may not be correct. Mr. Jha, go ahead, please.
The analogy is not correct.
The analogy is correct. Shreya, the analogy is correct because those kids who write the longest write during the exam. So the performance will be seen in the elections. But these kids leave their answer sheet, they leave their books at home. They leave their books at home and don't take them to the examination hall. So let us not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves.
Okay. Mr. Jha wants to come in. Arey bhai, Mr. Jha, we can finally see Mr. Jha.
No, I said that we are basically talking of a kid who's looking at a last moment extension of the dates of the examination. So there's a minor difference as far as the analogy is concerned. But I'll not end with that. I'll not, your question of economy, Mr. Tayal, I am just bringing your knowledge, bringing your eyes to just 2 parameters that the country is facing today. The inflation is at a 35-year-old high, and the unemployment is at a 45-year-old.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What was the...
Yes, Mr. Tayal.
Mr. Jha,
Mr. Tayal, let us listen to him. Mr. Tayal, रुक जाइए, Mr. Tayal, let us listen to what Mr. Jha is saying, then I'll come to you.
Mr. Tayal, I come from ground politics. I come from an extremely poor state of this country, and I'm telling you that the real impact of inflation is much beyond the data that is provided to you and much beyond the debates that happens in the newsrooms of this country. I come from Jharkhand, and every day when I go, I travel to the grassroots. I come from grassroots political activism background. So I'm telling you the impact of inflation. When we say 35-year-old inflation, it is much beyond what we actually want to, what the picture that is actually presented through the data. When we say 45-year high unemployment, it is much beyond any data that, any data point that can come to you. So this is what has happened to the economy of the country today. Today, the resources of this country is increasingly getting consolidated in the hands of a very few. And the strength of the nation, the strength of the country, and also the strength of a state like Gujarat, were the small and medium businesses. You go and meet the small and medium businesses of Gujarat today. They are basically facing the heat of the, of some very ill-conceived policies of this government. The whole GST regime, and the constant inconsistencies as far as the GST regime is concerned, that has crushed the small and medium business ecosystem of this country, all the more in Gujarat. It's a very big issue in Gujarat, and BJP knows it. I have to give it to BJP that the kind of survey network that the BJP has...
I just want to spend at least 2 minutes... Mr. Jha, give me 2 minutes now. I just want to spend at least 2 minutes on Himachal Pradesh. Mr. Tayal, 2 minutes. Ruk jaiye bhai. I mean, imagine today Himachal Pradesh dates have been discussed, and that's something we've not even touched. Ashutosh, elections for Himachal Pradesh have been announced today.
Economy का जवाब दे दो, उन्होंने economy की बात की है. Just give me that much.
दे दीजिए, चलिए आप दे दीजिए, लेकिन 20 seconds, 20 seconds में दे दीजिए.
20 seconds.
Go ahead.
The inflation from 2009 to 2014, Mr. Jha, for your information, was 10%, and there was no world crisis. So let's not talk about that. Number 2, the world GDP is going to be 3.2%.
I can again not hear Mr. Tayal.
I'm sure. So as long as the viewers can, and the world GDP is going to be 3.2%. Whereas India's GDP, even at a lower level, is going to be 6.5. So the economy is going the best
Mr.
that it can
Tayal,
under the current global circumstances.
Mr. Tayal, please understand, I come from a data background. Don't give data to me. You kill the base, and then you say that... No, you kill the base. You kill the base. What you have done is that, why the impact of any of this data will not matter to the economy of this country is because you have destroyed the baseline of this country. You destroyed the baseline. What is the baseline in which you are comparing? What is the baseline on which you are comparing? You have
Mr. Tayal,
hole in the economy of this country.
Mr. Tayal, fact is, Mr. Jha, 1 minute, ruk jaiye. No fighting, please. The fact is, Mr. Tayal, that a person who is voting today will not look back 20 years and say 20 years pehle inflation was, 10%. Aam Aadmi is feeling the pinch. Let's just accept that and move on from here. My last question is to Ashutosh. Ashutosh, quickly come in here on the Himachal Pradesh elections. The dates have been announced today. Himachal has a very interesting voting pattern. We've seen Prime Minister Modi there twice in the last 10 days. Priyanka Gandhi is there today. She's promising 1 lakh government jobs. What do you make of how these elections are going to play out?
See, I think Himachal Pradesh is going to be very interesting for the simple reason because this is a state where the BJP did not change his it's the chief ministerial candidate. But is he the most dynamic chief minister? I do not know, frankly speaking. And the BJP had to change its chief minister in Gujarat 3 times. They had to change a chief minister in Uttarakhand 3 times. So obviously there should be some confidence in Jairam's leadership. But the fact is that the Himachal Pradesh has been alternating between the BJP and the Congress, and there is a severe crisis. There is a unemployment. There is a very high unemployment. There is inflation, and whether the BJP spokesman like it or not, but if you go into the data, BJP did not acknowledge that the unemployment was highest in the last 45 years. Before 2019 elections until now, situation has not improved. And this is the biggest crisis the country is facing right now, even in Himachal Pradesh also. So I do not know that in the absence of a charismatic leader in Himachal Pradesh on the side of the BJP, BJP is totally dependent on the Narendra Modi. And if Narendra Modi can deliver, well and good for him. But don't forget, 2017 till Bengal elections, despite Narendra Modi's charismatic leadership, BJP lost 11 elections, 11 state assemblies BJP lost. So Mr. Modi delivers in the parliamentary election, but he fails to deliver in assembly election. And that is why I want to say, even the genius, when he goes to exam, he develops butterflies in his stomach. Even Sachin Tendulkar, when he goes to the crease, even now, he feels very uncertain and vulnerable.
Quick point.
Just one point.
Which is why possibly you are saying that the Gujarat election, dates were not announced. Who wants to make one point? Okay.
Just
one
point.
Abbas,
Just
go ahead.
Just 1 point in Himachal.
Ek minute.
This 1 lakh jobs that we have promised today.
Can I come
1 lakh jobs that we have.
I haven't made a point.
The 1 lakh jobs that we have.
Ek minute, Abbas. Let Mr. Jha speak.
No, the 1 lakh jobs that we have promised today in Himachal Pradesh is essentially, it essentially symbolizes the failure of the BJP over the last 5 years. The 1 lakh jobs in the first cabinet meeting that we have promised. So the headlines are a bit misleading. The 1 lakh jobs that we have promised, this 1 lakh job, we will create this 1 lakh jobs in the first cabinet meeting itself. And these 1 lakh jobs is basically the 1,16,000 vacancies that already exist in the state government. This should have been filled 5 years back. They should have been filled 4 years back.
Okay.
The fact that BJP could not fill for 5 years these 1,16,000 vacancies, these 1 lakh jobs that we are promising essentially is the epitome of the failure of this Jairam Thakur government in Himachal Pradesh. And this is just the jobs that we will fill.
Mr. Abbas,
These are just the jobs that we will fill in the first cabinet meeting.
Congress?
1 lakh jobs and the OPS, old pension scheme,
Can I
1 lakh
quickly
jobs.
make my point?
The 2 promises we are going to fill in
Gentlemen, I heard
the
all
first
this.
cabinet meeting.
no, Mr. Tayal is making a good point. Who's leading the Congress party in Himachal Pradesh? I would say Priyanka Gandhi, na? She's leading from the front. Aaj bhi rally kiya, Mr. Tayal.
There is a Pratibha Singh, there is a Mukesh Agnihotri, there is I mean, forget about uniting Bharat Jodo.
Mr. Tayal, who led Uttar Pradesh for BJP in 2017? This is a very
ठीक है हाँ okay Mr. I'm out of time. It's 6:29. I have to give Abbas 20 seconds. Abbas, go ahead. 20 seconds, please. Don't take any more than that. Go ahead.
Thank you, Shreya. The fact of the matter, we need to understand when it comes to Himachal Pradesh, there needs to be a manifesto of the last elections of the BJP along with a marks card, how well they have performed or not. We need to understand the voter today of Himachal cannot be taken for granted. And the metaphor given by Tayal Saab, dekhiye, it is the hare and the turtle. The overconfidence is going to make you lose, sir. So better be prepared and don't ever ask for extension of timeline. Stick to timelines. That is the way to go. Keep your promises. Keep it short and simple. That is the way ahead with the voters of Himachal and Gujarat too.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Abbas. Thank you, Ashutosh. I'm going to thank Mr. Jha and Mr. Tayal for joining us as well. Slipping into a quick break on the show. There's more coming up on Mirror Metro. Do stay with us.